Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. It's your host, Matt Heath. How you doing, folks? What's new out there? I got a great show for you today. JT Moore's on the show. Great comic. You're going to enjoy the interview. First, I want to talk about a couple things. For one thing is I got a show coming up, and I'm going to let a very special star of many Christmas movies tell you all about it. So hold on one sec.
Hey everybody, Danny Woodburn here, aka Mickey Abbott from Seinfeld. You all remember me. I stood in for Punky Brewster when you was nothing. Whew, that was a long time ago. I had another flashback. The little mishap at Coleman's 25 years ago. Anyway, it's that time of year, my friend. It's time for Ha-Ha's for the Holidays fundraiser, hosted by none other than Matt Heath, headlined by Santa. Yes, Santa will be there. And sorry to disappoint, I'm not showing up in costume. It'll be Thursday, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Stand up underground at the Elbow Room. Everybody be there. In case you don't know where it is, it's in West Hartford. As you probably say, West Hartford. Anyway, proceeds will go to help cure SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, and there's also going to be a toy drive for kids in need. So, dress appropriately, bring toys appropriately. All right, enjoy. That's December 3rd, 8 p.m., Stand Up Underground at the Elbow Room. Ha-Ha's for the Holidays fundraiser. Be there, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Oh, no. Oh, anyways. So you heard it straight from the mouth of Santa's little helper in most movies to come to the show. He was also great on Seinfeld. I love that guy. I'm so appreciative of him making that for me. Just because it is November, I'm already in the Christmas spirit because of this whole thing. And I went shopping today at the mall, and I'm trying to figure out what the hottest toy item is for this toy drive we're doing. And it's apparently Baby Yoda. People are obsessed with Baby Yoda, and I think I figured out why. People are so obsessed with Baby Yoda. Because Baby Yoda is like women. Baby Yoda is totally like women. We know you're the smartest creature in the universe. But, we just want you to shut up and look cute. And that's why we love women, and that's why we love Baby Yoda. Oh, I hope I don't get in trouble for that one. And I was also pants shopping today at the mall. And, I like to go into the, like prices like Abercrombie and Fitch and Forever 21 just to mess with the young people. Tell them I'm a size 36, just so they'll nervously look for a pair. And then I'm like, I'm not a teenager anymore. Everybody knows a big fat guy like me buys all his pants at Dillard's. Anyways, me and JT Moore talk a little bit about Dillard's. We also talk a lot about his special. He did a little while back called Fresh Off the Couch. If you guys want to watch it, it's on Vimeo. But before we get into that, let me just a quick word from our sponsor. You've probably heard a lot about cannabidol, or CBD. But have you heard about the plant science company taking the lead, providing the highest quality CBD nationwide? At your CBD store, Simsbury, you will find fantastic staff that creates a comfortable environment where you can get your questions answered and find the right products to get the relief you need. They'll be your number one source for providing quality education about products for you and your pet. That's right. Dogs use CBD, apparently. They offer a full line of edibles, creams, USDA certified oils, and more, all developed under the guidance of their PhD analytical chemists and health leaders across the industry. It's like, I know the Ghostbusters got a PhD. These guys got a PhD. It's a PhD in cannabis, man. Cannabis. I can't even pronounce the word right. I know I could get a PhD in that. And to back up their story, they also provide extensive third-party testing to ensure that what's listed on the products is actually in the product. They are located at 1243 Hot Meadow Street in Simsbury and open 7 days a week. Give them a call at 860-217-1433. Visit their website, ycbdsimsbury.com, or stop in for free samples and the highest quality products you can find. Your CBD store, Simsbury, where good health hits home. And, hey, if you guys are looking to sponsor the 1000 Comics podcast yourself, hey, hit up my Venmo at @ThankYouMaskedMan. If you guys want to send a few shekels to @ThankYouMaskedMan, I would be down to take your sponsorship. Anyways, please enjoy this little talk I had with JT Moore. Welcome to the 1000 Comics podcast. I'm sitting here today with my guest, JT Moore.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. We've been trying to set this up for some time now, but we finally got it.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually flip-flopping on whether to introduce you as JT Moore or James T. Moore. But it's always perplexed me. Is it that JT Moore is a stage name, or is it that you just prefer the abbreviation?
JT Moore is a stage name.
Okay.
I started comedy as James T. Moore, and I was going to switch to JT eventually. It just sounds better, looks nicer on flyers, and that long run-on James T. Moore. And everyone that knows me, like my grandparents called me JT, so it just fit.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, what do you think that I feel like the fundamental difference between black comics and white comics is most black comics have stage names.
Yeah, I've never noticed that. That does appear to be something.
You've never really thought about that before? Because I think about it all the time.
I've never thought about. Now that you say it, I don't know many white comics that go by like their nickname or anything like that. They just use their governments.
Well, I've been using my own name as a stage name for so long that it's like you can't switch. I can't switch now. I might be able to do a character someday on stage or something like that, but I could never switch to a stage name at this point.
Never say never. I don't know, man. Never say never.
But you know something? It was when I was interviewing Think Floyd that I realized, because his brother's J.B. Smoove,
Yep.
and they both use stage names.
Yep.
And I realized that when you use a stage name, it's almost like you can free yourself using the stage name. It almost gives you license to say whatever you want up there. That way, you go back to your regular name and work your regular job and do regular shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
While your stage name is almost like your superhero, while your own name is like your secret identity.
I agree, and I definitely thought about that. And they say you should rebrand yourself. I think every 5 years or 7. I know it's I think it's 5 years as far as comic.
Really?
Time to go, rebranding. You got to keep it fresh. Not so much probably with your name, but just your brand in general. But so I just felt the JT Moore thing was fitting.
That would be hard for me to do too, being that I'm doing the 1000 comics. I can't rebrand until I've interviewed the 1000 comics.
Pretty much. The name has put you in the box. So I don't know how many you interviewed so far, but
it's put me in a box, but I can step out of the box anytime I want to do other projects. People will know it's not one of the 1000 comics if I'm, interviewing a rock star or something.
This is true. So,
I don't know.
How many comics you interviewed so far?
We're in the 50s now.
Okay.
We're in the 50s. There's a few in the can, so I never say what episode we're exactly on.
Okay.
That way, if I'm like, this is 54, and then it's like, nah, this is... The person listening is like, this is 57. What the fuck is he talking about? Anyways, we were talking about, as you were walking in, we were talking about how I quit drinking, and you're enjoying, what are you enjoying right there?
This is E&J Apple.
E&J Apple.
It's a brandy, for those that are unfamiliar.
And I feel like this is the same brandy you like to bring to the open mic, because they kind of have like a BYOB policy over there at Seven Dreams.
Seven Dreams. Oh, yeah. Tower. Yeah, 15 Tower Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I bring that, share it. Any place. Well, actually, it's always with me, like ID. So, it's always with me. So it might be in the car, but it's close,
Okay.
I have a little bit before I go in to alleviate the bill that I'm going to leave at the bar eventually. But, this takes some pain off the bill at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Knowing that I have that guy in the car, so.
And Brandy's just like one of those, like, I don't know. He's just like, I've always just thought of you as like one of those like smooth, cool guys. Like you're definitely not like the nerdy type comic. Like nerdy comics don't bring Brandy to podcasts. You know what I mean?
What do they bring? We don't. No, I'm not gonna go.
Nerds?
Well,
when it comes to booze, I don't know, like Bud Light Seltzer.
Okay, I thought you was gonna say something somebody brought.
Which I'm drinking non-alcoholic seltzer right now, which is about as nerdy as you could get.
Listen, you're better than me. 2 months, you're better than me.
No. I wouldn't say I'm better than anybody. I don't think that people that drink are any worse. But something that I have been thinking about lately is that there's a certain mystique that gets added to you when the longer you don't drink as a comic, you get to hold on to this certain amount of mystique. Because I feel like as soon as you see, like, just like take celebrity comics, for instance. Like, as soon as you see that celebrity comic sitting at a bar drinking, they instantly become a regular person to me. They lose that edge, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, like Ari Spears, for instance. As soon as I seen him sitting at a bar drinking, like at comics, he just became a regular guy to me. He was no longer like this whimsical impressionist. He's now just a regular guy sitting at the bar. Like he might hit on my fiance or something, like that kind of which he did, but that's the feeling I got when I saw him sitting at the bar. It's like you could see it coming.
Exactly.
It's
weird because comedy is one of the few jobs where you can drink on a job.
Yeah.
But it's still a job, so you have to maintain some form of professionalism. So when you're drinking on a job, it does look a little, until where you're sober. Like I said, when I told you before I got up here, when I quit drinking for 2 months, it felt like a 9 to 5. It felt like I was clocking in, I was telling my jokes, and I was ready to get out of there because I wasn't enjoying the party like everyone else.
Right. And that's a part of it. Enjoying the party is a part. It's just like some of the best moments I've ever had as a comic is like bullshitting with other comics in parking lots. You know what I mean? And drinking and smoking is a part of that.
Yes.
Anyways, all I'm saying is I'm almost 2 months sober and I'm really itching for a drink.
I feel bad.
No. And I'm glad you brought the brandy, though, just so as other comics know that I still can host the party atmosphere. I'm into doing that. I mean, I'm not against people that drink. You know what I mean? And speaking of hosting, you're hosting a show coming up, right?
Yes, November 27th, Manchester, Connecticut. This is Black Friday.
Right.
I figured Black Friday is...
New Britain, right?
New Britain. Black Friday is typically a big day for comedy. Probably not this year.
Now that it's Black Friday, is it a big day for black comedy?
No, just for comedy in general.
I honestly didn't know that.
Everyone's usually home with their families. Thanksgiving is busy. You're home. You're stuffing your face. You wake up on Friday and it's like, well, what do we do now?
A lot of people have the day off too.
Exactly. So it's not like you're having that show on a Friday.
And they want to get away from their family.
Exactly. And it's not that regular Friday where you're getting off at 5, you're rushing home to shower, you're rushing to a show. You had all day to rest.
Yeah. And now that most people buy their shit on the internet anyways, no one goes out on Black Friday to shop anymore.
Exactly.
There's a whole it's open for anything now.
Exactly.
And comedy is
I didn't know that Black Friday, well, Thanksgiving Eve is like the biggest drinking day of the year. I thought it'd been New Year's Eve. Well, I'll double check my sources. I'll double check, but I think they said Thanksgiving Eve, and that blew my mind.
Is the biggest drinking day of the year?
Yeah.
It's because it's the biggest eating day of the year.
Possibly.
So and you have to wait for the food.
So you're
gonna start drinking.
Never thought of it like that, but possibly. But the drinking, the eating rolls into the comedy. That's how I look at it. So.
Oh man, I don't know. It's also like it's like it's such a lazy day because especially if you're not the one cooking, you're just sitting around watching football or I don't know. For some reason, when I was a kid, like every Thanksgiving, Liar Liar would be playing on the television. Yeah. Did you notice this?
Yeah, it's almost like contracted into TBS or TNT or something. It's almost like the Cowboys and the Detroit Lions have their Jim Carrey's got a deal, man. For some reason.
Do you think Jim Carrey notices that Liar Liar is always playing on, or do you think he's like too busy in his own world and Jim Carrey?
I think he's probably in his own world. He did he did that on this weekend episode of SNL. He was on SNL.
Right.
Because he's playing Biden now. And he did a scene from a callback, if you will. From
or the who's her, that. Yeah, somebody told me about that.
Yeah, that was funny as well.
I didn't watch Chappelle hosted it, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I checked it out.
It was good?
Yeah, it was good.
What and I think that was planned, obviously, because he hosted after the last election, too.
Correct.
You remember that?
Yeah. And that was funny, too.
And I was teaching full time when he hosted the last election, and I remember talking to my students about it the next day, and it's weird. Like teenagers don't know Dave Chappelle. Like teenagers do not care about Dave Chappelle for whatever reason.
The teenagers now are a lot different than what we were. I feel like we're more.
And I taught at a predominantly black school too, though, which is I think that's even weirder.
They're still different, but I was more, my friends, video games, Chappelle. These kids now, it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
I don't think they're into anything like TV. They're just into a whole bunch.
They're
of
so honed into their cell phones, like their own, like it's like their own world. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to think today, like what year did smartphones come out? Because it's like I'm starting to think the teenagers now were like babies when smartphones came out. So it's like. In a few years, it's like we think it's different now. In a few years, when it's like people weren't even alive before smartphones were invented.
Exactly.
Like those people are going to be fucked up.
Yeah, well, they already are, man. Technology has screwed them. These kids can't function without a tablet. They started at the age of 3 off the tablets. They're done. I don't even know if they're starting to read from tablets now. People don't even flip pages no more. It's just.
So I want to talk to you about that show you're doing in New Britain. It's going to be headlined by Davey Lozano, right?
Yes. Have you ever seen Davey?
Yeah, I came up with him in Joker's Wild back in the day. Like we used to do the same mics back then.
That's good to know because I did ask you how long you was doing it.
Yeah.
So Davey's been in what? Davey's
nearly a decade.
Okay.
If not longer.
Well, comics they always give different dates. So
right.
I didn't know he was doing it that long. So
how long have you been doing it though?
I say 5 years total. I was doing it for 2 years. I got married.
You took a 4-year break
hiatus,
at some point.
Correct.
Okay.
So I was doing it 2 years, 4-year hiatus. I've been back strong for about 2 years and a half. So
okay.
I just rounded up to 5. So.
And what made you take the hiatus?
I got married.
Okay.
So I didn't want to run out, on a newlywed thing.
Okay.
I put my dreams on hold for 4 years.
Okay.
So now that I'm married.
That's noble of you.
I tried, but she supports me nonstop now. So I guess it worked out. And timing is everything.
Nice.
Timing is everything.
Now, when you came back from your 4-year break, you filmed a special, correct?
Not right away. I hit the circuit hard, man. I was at every mic possible. I was going to like rap showcases, getting time near, just a whole bunch of tough guys that don't want to laugh and just.
You know what? Let's rewind all the way back.
Okay.
What year did you start? Where was the first place you ever went to do comedy?
Maddie's Cafe, Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It was a mic on a Tuesday. It was November. It was actually the first week in December of I want to say 2011.
Okay.
That was the first mic I've ever touched. Got married, I think, in like December of 13, so that's 2 years, and then I was kind of missing from the scene.
Okay.
But
so in those 2 years, it was mostly Massachusetts you were kind of going to, hitting up?
No, I'm actually from Bridgeport and Hartford. I always say both cities.
Okay.
So I produced my first show in Bridgeport for like my 1 year anniversary at a place that used to be called Two Boots, no longer, but sold out. So I produced shows in Bridgeport. All of them was pretty much up until in Bridgeport up until that point.
And where was that the first show you produced?
Two Boots.
Two Boots. So what happened to that place? They just didn't survive the pandemic or something?
Well, no,
or they closed earlier than that?
Yeah, they closed early into that. Then the next show I produced was 2 months later. Sold out again at Murphy's Law, which is on the same street.
Right. I've done a show at Murphy's Law.
Yep.
I think. Yeah. That's like a pub, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? Cal White used to run a mic there, right?
Yeah, I think he used to run a mic. He might have, but I know he used to run one in New Haven for a long time.
Yeah.
I just did a show with him too. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down too. That was one of Kareem Blue's shows, right?
Correct. Yep.
I did a show, only one show with Kareem Blue, and it was years ago. And it was like a Thanksgiving themed comedy show actually. And Kareem put it was me, Darren Seacrest, and Corey Brown.
Okay.
And he had us all sitting at a Thanksgiving table on the poster. Okay. And he had me with my shirt off, like chugging a bottle of wine. Okay. And these posters it was at a vineyard. And these posters were just all over the friggin' vineyard. Like, and I was just like, I feel like I was like Belushi or something. It was like I had to fulfill the prophecy of being a drunk. And I remember getting wasted that night. And Kareem Blue hasn't asked me to work with him since. And I'm not sure it was because I think he may have even picked up my tab. Like, he offered to pick up my tab. But then he was like, I don't think I'm going to work with this guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's definitely a part of the scene of CT. He's been producing shows for a long time now. And
I would definitely like to work with him again. Hey, Kareem, if you're listening, I'm 2 months sober, so.
It was a great room in Bethlehem last Friday. Friday.
So that show was good, and it was you, Cal White, Kareem. It was somebody else was on the show,
John
right?
Moses.
Okay.
Yeah. Out of New York. He's a monster. So great show. Kareem's a great guy. It was funny. This man said I had to fulfill the prophecy. Yeah. Give people what they're expecting, man. It was on the flyers. So.
You got to give the people what they want. And I just remember he didn't even ask me like if he could use the picture or something. Like, he definitely went deep into my Facebook, found the picture of me shirtless, chugging a bottle of wine, and was like, "I'm using this." Which I appreciate though, because so many producers, when they do shows, they use one of your pictures, they'll always go for the profile picture. And then it's like, you'll have like 10 posters with the same fucking picture on it. So, Kareem, you make a great poster, man. Yeah. Fucking A. Did he make the poster for that show? Or?
Yeah, he did.
He
did the same thing. He went and found a picture and did his thing and never, And
you're like, wow, he went deep into my Facebook page.
Yeah, the man does his homework. He's the reason why I was able to host. I was the ring announcer for the Golden Gloves, Western New England.
Really?
2 years in a row because Kareem, he owns his own boxing gym. And he plugged my name and I got to do that. So Kareem, like I say, he does a lot, man. He helps out a lot of comics.
Really?
Yeah, he helps out a lot of comics.
So you were an announcer. What did that entail?
Pretty like you see on TV, fighting out of this corner, from yada yada, and out of the blue corner. And then, I would get at the end of the bout.
Did you say, let's get ready to rumble?
No, I would never. There's only one man that can do that. I would never. I would never. Try to keep it original. That's already solidified.
Oh, gotcha.
I didn't try to climb that mountain. Just try to be me, keep the crowd entertained. And I love boxing, so it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like well versed with boxing, but I like it. Like, if my brother gets like pay-per-view, like I'll go over his place to watch, whatever fight it'll be, and it's usually pretty damn entertaining.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do it like I said. I'm like one of the a cool smooth comic like you is gonna be like a boxing announcer. like you're like Rogan while I'm like nerdy old Mark Maron sitting here.
See that this dude is crazy. That's interesting to hear, man. The smoother comic. I never looked at it like that. I might have to embrace that. I might have to start wearing feathers.
You got to fulfill the prophecy.
Exactly. Feathers in my hat now and more suits on stage. I might have to, adapt that whole persona and run with it. Might be part of my rebrand in another 5 years.
Do you think people will listen to this and try to find that picture of me shirtless?
I'm definitely gonna look for it immediately. I'll be honest. I'm sitting here, I'm patting my pockets, like, okay, might have left the phone in the car, but I'm gonna.
You know what else I found amusing about Kareem is that I just thought the work ethic that went into what he did was like beyond anything else I had seen at the time, because he had brought not only did he bring his own stool and mic and amp, he brought his own stage
lighting.
He brought his own curtain that was he attached to the stage somehow.
To like a jumbotron looking, yeah.
Yeah.
He goes all out, man. He's big on production, and he's someone to learn from. I definitely stole some of my producing skills from him, and even with things as it seems microscopic, but something like a flyer. People just throw flyers together. But if you want people to come see you, it needs to look like something. You can't just throw together some average flyer, throw it up. You want something that's gonna pop. People are like, oh my God, I want to go see that.
Yeah, totally.
I definitely pick his brain, still gain from him. Like I say, he's a businessman. He owns his own boxing gym out there in Thompson. Mm-hmm. So why not? If we have people like that within the scene, why not pick their brain? Mm-hmm. So
I find it amusing that a guy that owns a boxing gym has shirtless photos of me.
Yeah, but I mean, the man do his homework.
They're all backed up on a hard drive. I keep photos of every show I've ever done.
They're on a VPN and everything, man. You gotta,
oh my God! That reminds me of something. I don't know why it just popped into my mind, but I do my research. I looked at your Facebook page, your Instagram, and I immediately got off your Instagram when I found a cartoon of Marge eating Homer's ass. And I'm like, how did this not get flagged?
You know, it's funny because I think this was because you have. I don't know if you're a Homer fan, but the people can't see. Matt has a Homer sticker.
Yeah, on the laptop, it's Homer eating the apple on the laptop.
I don't know if that was the deal breaker for him. I was like, hey, this guy disrespected Homer. I'm out of here.
Well, I don't know if it was disrespect because it might have been the ultimate respect.
Because I have a lot worse shit on my Instagram. If Marge eating the Homer's ass was the line.
I don't know what it was about your Instagram. It was I feel like my Instagram is all pictures, which I think this is it's like Facebook and Twitter is for writing, while Instagram's for pictures.
True.
You have a lot of pictures of writing on your Instagram.
This is true.
And I'm like, this guy's a nerd. I thought for a split second until I saw that Marge eating Homer's ass. Then I didn't know what to make of it.
I pulled from everywhere. I stumbled across that. Probably was funny. I forgot what it.
Now, where do you go on the internet to find such a thing?
It's probably on Facebook and Instagram.
It was not on Facebook.
Trust me, I don't venture off either place, man. I'm not good with the graphics and making memes. I don't do that.
I guess we just don't follow the same people.
I'm not good with that.
I'm all nerds. It's all boxing people that you follow. So
I follow.
Who knows?
A bunch of interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back to. So I get a lot of material to pull from. You know.
But like it all goes to you like being like something I envy a little bit about you is like and other I feel like a lot of even like great comics can't do this. Like when I just to tell the audience what I mean is like at Seven Dreams, it could be like a very like minimally successful open mic, only a few people in the audience. Every comic that's already gone on has bombed. And then you just go up and you will kill those three people that are sitting in the room. And it takes like a certain amount of comfortability to do that kind of thing.
I appreciate that, and like it goes all back to, be honest. I tell comics this all the time, and I'll say to be big headed. Like no one really asks me questions. I'm open to share what I know. I want to help build a scene. Like if I can help you get better, like I said, I pull from Kareem all the time and his ideas, and so I feel like a lot of comics just go to do their shtick and they go home. Like no one ever come up to me and say, James, like what did you do differently that I didn't do? Because I'll be more happy to share it. What I do is, whenever you walk into a room, you're a complete stranger to all those guys. So you have to connect with them immediately. So when I walk into a room, I'm assessing everything. If the clock is dead on the wall, that's something to poke fun at.
Yeah.
If, just things that can seem so small. But if you speak something that everyone was thinking silently, it's like the elephant in the room, but no one said it, you're going to get instant laughter. So it... And you never see me get up there like, oh, everyone died, haha. That's not my style of comedy. It's like I'll go with whatever is going on because it's easy to get up there and talk junk about the people before you and all that. That's low hanging fruit. So I practice that. Comedy, you have different muscles. Like basketball, some guy may be good at shooting threes, but he might be terrible at free throws. Comedy that a lot of comics don't work that muscle. You can be a phenomenal writer, which I have jokes that I think are well written, obviously, because I have 45. I can do 45 of like written stuff, but that's a muscle that comics need to work on and challenge themselves and walk into the room and make observations and do what comics do and like paint a story like of what's going on. Sometimes when it's three people, they don't want to hear jokes. You have to make it personal. It's like you got to connect with these three people, or they'll start chatting. So. That's what I try to do. Like, you see how, hey, this dude right here, he looks like he sells all the drugs. That's just to get in or reel him in, depending on where I'm at. I'm like, hey, this guy looks like a phenomenal carpenter. And just to get his attention, now you're listening, I can really riff and slide into my set. It's little things like that that can change your set and getting on that stage and telling jokes off the bat.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that, like, when you're a host,
yes,
it's... being someone who connects with the audience rather than sticking to your own jokes, your own material, connecting with the audience and kind of observing the room that's actually like the most important quality of a host.
Yeah, I agree, and the hosts don't get. When you see a host on a flyer, I feel like hosts don't get enough credit. The host is the most important person on the show. The host is the glue that holds everything together. This person bombed, you have to pick these people back up for the next guy. The host has to know. Host is the quarterback. He has to know what everyone is doing. What you're doing, I know you're doing 10. The light, people walking for the guest spot. The host is the quarterback. So, and also as a host, freestyling is almost required. It's not your job to do your material.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because. You were actually at the mic last week when Nick James hosted for the first time, and when he asked me how he did, I had to be honest with him.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna just rip on Nick James on this, but I will say this: that it's like when you're a host, you're actually like doing the most work as a comedian. That's where the real work comes in.
Yes.
Where it's like you need to do all the work. So the headliner, the feature, those guys can have room to do their art.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're sacrificial lamb. And pretty much. And right? If Nick, like I said, comics don't come. I was there, and if Nick asked me like, hey, how'd I do? Like I like Nick some of his written stuff. I like how he steps out of his comfortableness and comes to those urban rooms which a lot of, I'll be honest, like white comics are scared to do that.
Mhm.
And if you plan on going anywhere, like challenge yourself. Like
I don't get how so many white comics will get on the internet and go like Black Lives Matter and then not show up to any of the black rooms.
that's the cool thing to do right now. The whole black, it's a whole movement. It's almost like the vegan wave, and I don't say that in just like or to be disrespectful to the Black Lives Matter movement, but like what I'm saying is people follow trends,
right?
And yes, Black lives are very important, but some people it's just a hashtag, and then some people are like really on the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that, though. But I would say, so Nick, I want to get on Nick and his hosting. Nick job was because there was a lot to work from. There was a lot going on. So if he pretty much gave a summary and a funny style of everyone's set, he'd just been doing his job. But I feel like he doesn't work on that freestyle muscle when you just bound to your set, what you write. You're not working out that muscle. You're gonna struggle. As a host, things happen. You need to adjust on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Some guy can't yell at the crowd, and you can't throw one of your written jokes at him. You have to reply. Hopefully, you shut his ass down, whoop him up, be funny, and then get back to your.
But you also as the host, you set the whole tone for the room. Yep. So for the whole night, everything. So if you tell like a rape joke or a suicide joke, then it's like the whole room becomes like venom. It becomes like poison,
Exactly. And that's a great observation. You're exactly right. I'm actually,
and it's not to say that you can't do like rape jokes or suicide jokes. Like I'm a fan of like any type of jokes,
exactly.
But as a host,
that's not true.
That's not your job.
If a comic, especially on a mic, if the third comic comes up and his whole set is about rape jokes and it kills, then you can say, okay, that's this type of crowd. I'll step in after him, throw in one of mine, and then I'll keep the show rolling.
There you go.
You have to read the temperature, and there's a lot of talented comics. You see me, I get booked a lot, but I'm also on the ground still. I'm struggling to get booked, and it's because I enjoy comedy. So it's funny because you say I'm a smooth guy. I do believe I'm smooth as most things, but when it comes to comedy, the nerd comes in. I sit in the back of the room and dissect everything. I did this, I did that. I'm particular about my flyers, how things look, and when you're passionate about something, you should be. So, what I was saying is like with Nick, we're talking about Nick, you're right. The whole sets the tone, and I'm interested in seeing Mustafa tonight. He's one of my favorite younger comics. Mm-hmm. Both of the Musa brothers, I think they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they're both great.
They're both phenomenal, and there's a lot of talent. It's just.
Did you happen to read Mo's post on Facebook the other day that got a lot of comics going?
Mustafa.
No, Mo's post.
Mo Musa?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mustafa.
No, I'm switching over for a second because I just want to talk about this real quick.
I didn't.
He wrote this post that said, if you're 5 years in and haven't done
a certain amount of sets,
200 sets.
That was Mustafa.
That was Mustafa?
And
because maybe Mo commented on it then. I don't know. They were both involved somehow.
No, Mustafa definitely did that. And I liked it and I didn't like it. I liked it because his whole style is very in your face. He gets up there immediately. He doesn't lube it. He's raw, no Vaseline. This is gonna hurt. From the jump, he's in your face. Risky comedy. I feel like once he gets a couple, maybe a year under his belt, a few more mics, and he finds his voice,
right?
He's gonna be a monster.
That's it's all about finding your voice, and that's one thing I didn't touch it because I wrote 3 comments on it already, and I was I kind of just want to let sleeping dogs lie now. But I was really thinking about this post because I don't know. Did you see the comment that I just wrote? Put the picture of Bernie Mac from Mr. 3000.
Yeah, the movie,
and wrote that at the end of the day, personal statistics don't really matter. It's all about just putting in the work.
I did see you right there. I did. And that's where my comedy nerd, if you will, I see everything. I'm flipping the pages. I might not like it or comment, but I try to see everything.
Yeah.
And I feed off I love those two brothers. I love their energy. I love listening to you. And you guys, I know you guys make me feel weird. When we're at a mic and you guys say it's Nick. last week he was like, "Hey man, I wish you would have got on and I would have gave you your proper introduction, bro. I haven't done anything in my career. Like I saw that theater, I'm getting booked, and then like you'll say, I think you brought me up one time and you was like, here's a guy that's funnier than all of us. I'm like, come on, like or I remember one time you laughed for like the first 3 minutes of your set because you was like, I just got bumped by JT Moore.
Right.
I thought that was one of the funniest shits ever. But I pay attention to everything, and it sticks.
Right.
And I'm a fan of all of you guys. And it's like, I can't wait to go there tonight and just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely think it's going to be a total change of pace with a different host like that. So I'm excited for that. One other thing though that I wanted to mention about having 200 sets in 5 years, it's like it's I feel like to focus on the number like that, it takes away something from if you found your voice as a comedian, like being focused on finding your voice as a comedian is the most important thing. Because once you've been doing it for long enough, you'll realize that the number of times on stage doesn't matter because all the world's a stage, and where you use your voice, whether it be a podcast, whether it be like a book somebody's reading that's written in your voice, pretty much anything. Where it's like you're focused on making yourself better as a comedian, rather than this is how many times I need to be on stage with a microphone in my hand. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%, and it goes back to something as simple as quality over quantity. It's that simple. That's pretty much what you're saying, and refuting his post. He's saying, hey, under 5 years and you don't have 200 doesn't matter. Like is the quality there? Mm-hmm. You can get up every night, hit 3 months. Because my biggest, this shit used to grind my gears. They had like this stretch where it was like mic on mic on mic on mic. Or we're double dipping, we're triple dipping. And you're going to these mics with your friends and you guys are telling the same jokes. And no one's getting better because everyone is laughing at each other because no one wants to feel awkward. But you're not growing. Like in Middletown, there used to be that Keegan's place. Then they used to be able to walk down to the pickle stand. And like, it's like, yeah, you're chalking up all these mics, but are you getting better? Like, did you learn anything? Did you find a veteran that was at the mic and say, hey, like, you know, what can I do better? And I feel like a lot of younger comics, they don't, which is fine. Like, I pull, my mentor is, Marshall Brandon.
I met him.
Marshall Brandon is one of the biggest gyms we have in Connecticut that don't nobody know about. He's my mentor. He's probably he is the reason, one of the biggest reasons why I'm so far along, because I pull from that well of knowledge nonstop. I'll pick his brain. Every time he has a show, I'll call. I'll do a guest spot after the show.
So he really does mentor you.
Marshall Brandon, Dave Chappelle just had like a bunch of shows up on his ranch out there in Ohio.
Right.
Summer camp. Marshall Brandon was out there the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, he tours with Darnell Rollins.
Really?
So exactly, right here in Connecticut, like Marshall's wrote for True TV. He's wrote for television. Like
I met Darnell Rollins. He's a really nice guy.
He is. Yeah. He is. And he is. But we have this like right under our nose, and people don't use it because they don't know. Like it's wherever you're trying to go in life, whether if you're trying to be the best, I don't know. I'm not gonna say doctor, but if you're black and you wanted to be a lawyer back in the day, like you probably looked up to someone like Johnny Crockett. I use him because he's like the famous black lawyer, and I use that analogy because yes, I can't meet with Dave Chappelle because I don't know who he is, but I have Marshall Brandon here in Hartford, Connecticut, who this man has been doing it for 20 years. Performed BET Comedy View.
And Marshall Brandon, it took me a minute to register, but I have seen him. I haven't seen him in years, though. That's the thing. Like
he's around, and that's the crazy thing. He stays out here in Hartford. He's around.
Yeah.
You won't see him on the mic scene. Like,
of course not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
you never know, though. He might pop up, right?
Well, him and another gentleman used to do the Funny Bones every first Wednesday. And that's another room I cut.
You never know. Sometimes you could just speak somebody into existence. Like we won't even post this podcast till a week later. But he might just show up at the mic tonight just because we just spoke it into existence.
I was thinking about that.
You know what I mean?
I was kind of hoping that too. I was trying to manifest it. I was like, if I keep talking about this shit, I'm about stuff like this. I'm about positive energy is everything.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are powerful.
Yeah.
The words you speak into the ear. If you say, "Oh, I suck," like you gotta
Like
give
we
it
could
away.
just say tonight's gonna be like a really funny time at the elbow room.
Absolutely.
And it's gonna happen because
Yeah.
we just spoke it into existence.
It's a mindset.
Yeah, it's definitely the power of positive mental attitude, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm totally into that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Do you read self-help books at all?
I don't. I just
Well, I saw you said something about Tony Robbins being your, but I don't think you were talking about the self-help guy.
No. Tony Roberts.
Tony Roberts.
He's a comedian.
Damn.
Yeah.
This is why I got confused because I saw you standing there and the picture with somebody. And I was like, "That's not Tony Robbins."
No.
And I don't even think he's a comedian. Tony Roberts. Fuck.
Tony Roberts, who's a monster.
Gotta get better at my research.
You did phenomenal research, but honestly, Tony Robbins is close to Tony. You know what's funny? When I launched the special, I had to pay a caption company to do the subtitles. I use a lot of slang, so I had to like go through it, and they had Tony Robbins too. And I'm like, does that look like Tony Robbins? So I had to go in and edit.
I think it just sounds like you said Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I don't enunciate as much as I should. You know, I'm from Hartford, man. I talk lazy.
It's like you said. It's all about our strengths. It's like enunciating is important, though.
Exactly. I'm a lazy talker.
But you know, a guy that stutters just became president. So. There is that.
This thing is ridiculous. Holy shit.
Okay, let's talk about for a minute about that special that you filmed though. That was at the Bijou.
Bijou Theater. I beat the pavement for 2 years. And it's funny because like when I shot it over to the gentleman that did the video, I hired a gentleman by the name of, his name is Alonzo Beckett. He's out of Hartford. His company is named Any Video.
Okay. What's the name of the special, by the way?
Fresh Off the Couch.
Fresh Off the Couch. Yes.
Because obviously I took the hiatus, but the joke was when I was still going to comedy shows, like I would always hear like, you're not a comic no more. Like you want a couch.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got off and got back into it, and I was like bombing to start off. They're like, you ain't got it no more. I'm like, I'm fresh off the couch. Like, oh, that's your excuse. Oh, he gonna say you fresh off the couch. So I worked my ass off to where I was able to tune 45 minutes. And, you know, I feel like the title was fitting, you know?
Totally.
So the gentleman, Alonzo Beckett from Hartford, hired him. He brought 4 video cameras. So I had 4 different angles, like 4 cameramen.
Okay.
Put up my own money for the special. I had to, obviously rent the theater, set the ticket prices, and was able to sell out. And you learn, it was my first special ever. Like, with anything, it's going to be trials and errors. And I learned that I can't run a show by myself. Mm-hmm. I was trying to do everything that night. We got there. I didn't have my dress shoes. I like an hour before the show, I got in my car, ran to the nearest Marshalls, bought dress shoes.
Really?
Yeah, it was hectic, man.
Wow.
My wife said she packed them. Baby, I know you packed them. I just lost them. But I went, got dress shoes. My blazer, the red blazer. Early on in that night, I had on a white blazer because my red blazer I ordered and had it like overnighted.
Yeah.
My brother picked it up. It got to my house at like 6:30. My brother picked it up, shot it down to me at the Bijou. Like, so the blazer, UPS dropped it off at 6:30. I had it on stage at 9. It was a lot of things going on.
How you look on stage, especially in a special, because it's visual.
Yes.
You know, it's how you look on stage is a big portion of that.
You know what's funny? Well, I won't get into too much detail. We can talk about more off camera. But I had a situation like that with a comedy club. I've been trying to get into this comedy club forever. I usually wear my grind flu stuff. You see me, I wear hoodies and regular stuff. And I finally got booked because I knew the headliner, so I got the feature. And I said, you know what? Let me try something. I'm gonna put on my blazer and my work stuff, look professional.
Right.
And the same booker that every time I tried to pitch myself to him, ignored me, gave me his email address and ignored me. When I threw in that blazer that night, this man treated me like gold. I got his cell phone number. Mm-hmm. Like, he wanted me back the next night. And I was like, nothing changed but this blazer.
Yeah, right.
So you dress for success. You look important, people want to look like he must be important. And like I said, it goes back to the minute details of just fine tuning yourself. A lot of comics, they're out here just running around. Look, you got to have a plan, man. Like, if this is what you want to do, you should be always going back to the drawing board up late. Like, all right, what can I do different? It wasn't the jokes. I was funny. Killed the crowd. Maybe.
It was interesting. Even with that Ghostbusters show I just did recently, I was like, how am I going to separate myself as a host? And I said, I'm going to wear a shirt and tie under the Ghostbusters. So it's like, it'll be like zipped down so people can see this is the host buster, I guess. I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up. And I want to say, get well, John James, rooting for you. Phenomenal guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, man, you're gonna do it, man. You're a monster. You're a great person in this world full of trashy people, and fuck cancer. So
fuck cancer. Mustafa said something hilarious on Facebook the other day. He goes, "You got to get better from this cancer, so you go back to doing what you love, hosting the Black."
and he's taking it in stride. He's posting jokes.
Yeah.
And more information off. I can't share everything.
Yes. Let's get back to you though. Some of the, I just want to talk about some of the people that you mentioned that you worked with.
Okay.
Coco Brown for one thing.
Love, you know who Coco Brown is?
Of course I know. I mean, I just know a lot of comics. You like me because I'm a white comic. I don't know who Coco Brown is.
Listen,
she's a teacher, and I'm a teacher. Teacher comics know who the other teacher comics are.
This is true. Love Coco Brown. She's one of my favorite people to work with. I work with her, and before we get off, remind me to tell a story about why I think I got booked at the Funny Bone for the first time. Because I want comics to hear it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I'm very...
Before we get off?
No, before this, I wanted to...
Well, we only got 15 minutes left anyway.
Okay.
For this. Just tell it now. Go ahead.
Okay, so everyone knows, like, the Funny Bone is probably... It is the biggest comedy club we have. Maybe not as far as seating, but we're talking about, like, tenure. Comics is not been around as long, and they don't really pack a place like that.
Right.
The Stress Factory is fairly new. They're still building. State-of-the-art facility. I'll give them that. State-of-the-art, beautiful place. You have Brouhaha, City Steam, which is no longer.
Mm-hmm.
However, they have very successful weekends. Small room. Still is a very successful comedy club. So the Funny Bone is like the it in Connecticut if you're a comic. You want to be on that stage.
I completely disagree with you, but I think it's just from being an insider of the place and working as a cook in the place.
No, you said as a cook. I didn't
as
know
a cook.
Okay.
But I have hosted shows there and worked at that club. I've worked at that club as a comic, but I've also worked at that club as someone in the kitchen.
So you think there's a better comedy club out here?
Well, when I saw the other side, I'm starting to think every other comedy club's a better comedy.
You see that? All right. So that it's biased. Like you said. All right. So you said you was working there, cook. You saw the other side.
You know what is a great thing that makes fun of the Funny Bone? I think it's so overlooked, and I think only comics will really get it. Is the TV show Crashing did a whole episode that made fun of the Funny Bone.
I didn't know.
Yes.
The Funny Bones as a franchise?
As a franchise.
Okay.
You should check it out. It was an episode they did with Dob Davidoff and the guy that does that show, Pete Holmes. Really funny. You should check it out.
Okay, I'll say this. So if we're talking about numbers, does big names really come through comics like that? Like this?
Yes and no. But here's the thing about comics. It's big names used to come through back when it was a bigger place, when it was back at Foxwoods. So now you have the smaller, now it's more gimmicky because it's a roadhouse. So it's like you have that smaller stage at the club, but it's to work your way up to one day do the arena
which is next door.
Yeah.
However, do you know who runs comic? It's so poorly ran. It's like the same three comics. It's a gentleman that's like the MC host that doesn't really have respect for comedy. His dad just has a bunch of money and owns the club, and he's just a schmuck from Florida. that also has, I can get too deep into it, also has all types of allegations of sexual assault, walking in restrooms on women. It gets real deep.
Well, I'll tell you this about the Funny Bone though, real quick before we start talking about how much greater the Funny Bone is.
Okay.
There was one comic I remember specifically made a joke about how the waitresses were all girls that were living in a halfway house, and he literally made one of the waitresses cry because she did live in a halfway house. I actually pulled the comic out of the green room into the kitchen to apologize to the waitress.
Well, you're a great guy. That's a stand-up thing to do. And that's a great comic. I know he is, but it was kind of
cool though because I got the two to hug. I was like, I'm like the mediator in all this. Like I'm a comic and a guy that works in the kitchen.
Exactly. And I want to say this: I'm not caping for the Funny Bone because obviously I host there a lot. I'm just speaking off like business. Like I look at all these comics. Like I said, I had a lot of great things to say about City Steam. Like it's a smaller one, but City Steam is well ran. People come out, they flock out. Very professional. Stress Factory, very professional. I've worked there, featured everything, very professional. They're just a new establishment, so they're still building. But yeah, comics is ran by, you have this the same MC. He's running around connect. Like I don't want it to sound like an attack, and I don't want the podcast to be about this gentleman. I'll get on my point because that's enough airtime for this gentleman. We can talk more about that off camera. But the Funny Bone, right? Because I talk about being, if this really what you want to do, if you want to climb the ladder, you want to work hard. I know I was putting in the hours. I was losing sleep. I'll be honest. I think comedy cost me a job, because I was getting home at 2 a.m. from New York because I started going into New York and meeting like the talents and all these other guys that's been on TV and doing it for forever. And I was taking those drives on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, to just work on new stuff. Because I was out here all the time. I needed that new challenge. You can't go to the YMCA, and there's no disrespect to CT Comics.
Right.
But if you want to get better, you have to get in the ring with the gym with upper echelon talent.
True.
So
I actually just left the group CT Comics.
Why?
Because I felt like it was doing me more harm than good.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think you should come back. I think we have a great scene. I do.
No, I'm not knocking anyone in particular. I just think the way people just go after each other. It's not like a creative like workspace environment. It's really just a bunch of dogs fighting each other. Like
dogs acting like children.
Yeah.
I want to come back to that, but I want to harp on this Funny Bone thing. So, the GM there, everyone knows the GM. We have how many comedians you would say in Connecticut? 500, 1,000? I think it's a lot.
Active doing it, I would say 300.
300. So, if you're the one comedian that's like constantly emceeing this room, getting to work with, because you mentioned Coco Brown, I want to touch on Coco. She's phenomenal. I love her. I got to work with her the second time she came around. She remembered, oh, hi, hey, baby. And she follows me on Instagram. She comments on my stuff. I have her number. So, it's great along those lines. Like, she can be at the Stress Factory. And I can say, hey, you need a feature? And you need a host? So, you build relationships with people through the Funny Bone. That's what it's really there for. It's not like, hey, I made it. It's to build relationships with people that's really in there already. So, I was having a hard time getting in. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, damn, I'm like headlining everywhere, like regular clubs and stuff. Like I'm working, I'm hot right now. Like I can't stop getting booked. I'm doing everything. How can I get in here? So I ran into the general manager in the bathroom. He's like, you got to keep hitting me up. So I kept hitting him up, like just ignoring it. One night it was like a snowstorm, and it's not. I don't believe in luck. I believe in being in the right position at the right time and being prepared. So it was a snowstorm, and I know at this time Andre Kim was like the guy, like all the time there.
Yeah, so, who I'm actually opening for at the Elbow Room. The 20th.
Good stuff.
See? Yeah, hey, there you go.
The guy.
And you know what's weird, though? Even weirder, I saw Andre Kim open up for Dov Davidoff, who's the guy that was in that episode of Crashing that's making fun of the funny bone.
Oh, see, that's personal. That's personal. I'm going to watch it, though. I'm going to watch it. So, I'm like, how the hell do I break through? So, I knew Andre had a show. He was like 45 minutes away. It was a snowstorm. He did the Friday night show. I was like, there's no way in hell through the snowstorm he gonna make it to the Saturday show. I was hoping for a situation like, hey, is there a doctor in the house? I'm like, hey, I goes. So I shoveled my car out, made it there. He found the host. Rodney Norman was the host. I'm like, shit, whatever. So now I'm in the parking lot just chilling. My boy, we're drinking. I'm frustrated. I'm like, yo, I don't know what to... So the general manager comes up. Now he's cleaning his car off. I look up. It's 2:30 a.m. I didn't know I was in the parking lot for that long. So I hop out, said his name wrong. I'm like, hey, when am I get my shot? Like, he's a snarky guy. So with attitude, he was like, it's not my name. My name is this. I was like, oh,
I know exactly how you pronounced his name wrong, too.
Exactly. So, exactly. So I got back in the car, and then Carlos Miller came to town 2 weeks later, and I hit him up, and he said, I'll see you tonight. So when I jumped out that car at 2:30, that was a gamble. Like, he could have been like, this dude's a creep, like, blocking him. But I needed to stand out from the rest of the conference. I'm like, I needed something. Like, that wasn't my plan. I just was in the car frustrated, drinking with my boy. Like, yo, like, all I need is a shot. Like, I'm everywhere else. I need to network with the comedians so I can elevate. And I jumped out, said what I said. And 2 weeks later, from Carlos Miller, killed that weekend to where Carlos actually pulled him in the green room at the last show. He was like you got one. Like, he you know how shitty hosts are when we're on the road. Like this kid, he's a hometown kid. He's hilarious. Like, obviously he's growing. And it's been on to the races since. But
just about Rodney Norman. I opened for him one time.
I love Rodney.
He's amazing.
We have good, like Rodney.
We have a lot of connections, huh?
Exactly. But we have a lot of good people in Connecticut. Yeah. You know, and we need to use like CT Comics. You said it's a hellhole.
I want to do a show with me and you and Coco Brown for some reason. I think we could actually make it happen.
I think I can make that. You know what's funny? All right, so you saw Fairfield Comedy Club had the CT comedy show, right?
Right.
So I feel like you're starting to get to know me, but like if you didn't know me, you saw just CT Comics. Like, this dude's an asshole. Like, he just walks around talking shit to people, starting fights. And that's not the case. Some of it I do just enjoyment of trolling. But the CT Comics, I saw what the Fairfield Comedy Club did, and it was like little to no CT Comics on it. When I got selected to the DC Comedy Festival, same thing. I was picking their brain. Like, how do you do this? Like, because I wanted to bring that home. So I actually contacted I had a committee.
Yeah, but so it's like you just said, Lev, that no one in CT Comics was involved at the Fairfield Comedy Club. Yeah. I feel like it's like you stay in that cesspool of negativity for so long. You're not even gonna realize like shit that's going on around you.
So you feel like it wasn't? You feel like there were comedians in it?
What do you mean?
No, I'm saying so Fairfield Comedy Club had their CT festival, but there really wasn't Connecticut comics involved. A lot of them was really from New York.
Right.
So, but that's what I'm saying. So
that's what I'm saying. CT Comics is that cesspool of negativity.
Exactly.
That if you don't get your way out of it, you're not going to look for shit. That's you're stuck in this little bubble. You're not even seeing what's it's going on in the bigger bubble surrounding the small bubble.
So when I went to DC Comedy Festival, I got selected. I stayed in the hotel room for 2 nights. I did the Comedy Festival, did a bunch of spots. Even drove to Baltimore, which is about an hour from DC, to do mics there. Because I had connections. So I picked their brains on how they did it because I wanted to bring it home. Mm-hmm. So I came home, and even my differences with the Kate Clancy's and the Brian Barganeers, I messaged them like, hey, bygones will be bygones. Like, you guys are part of like CT Comics. So like I feel like you need to be a part of this. But like I have investors, we can make this happen. So I had a committee. It was me and myself. It was Johnny Benson, who's been in the Connecticut scene forever.
And you just pointed at my fridge for the listener. There's a magnet with Johnny Benson on the fridge.
Exactly. Johnny's also on that show on the 27th.
Nice.
Because Johnny is CT Comics, and Without people like Johnny Benson, the scene don't keep building because he's been putting on shows for forever, and I have to pay that respect to him.
Oh yeah, and was doing shows with him my first year of comedy back in Jokers, man.
He's a great guy. He's unbiased and stuff like that. So he was on the committee. It was him, me, Kareem Green, Kareem Blue. I had Paul Gregory.
You know, if a white guy made that mix-up, that would be racist.
This is true. Why I corrected right away?
Kareem Green.
Kareem Blue and Rob Santos. So we all met, and it never came to fruition. Mm-hmm. I guess I can tell you more off the record. So like I said, I don't want any more.
What, are you trying to build some kind of Justice League of CT comedy here?
What I wanted to bring that dope experience I had in DC, I feel like the comics here deserve that. I could have did that. But people are just showing their feelings, and if they're not the person to come up with the idea, they don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make it happen still, because I've made everything else happen so far, being persistent.
Well, you got a good head on your shoulders, and I want to work with you, man. I think we could potentially produce some stuff together.
Of course,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, man.
I've always been a fan of your comedy. You know what's funny? I swear to I never knew what Dillard's. So you was doing your research. Today at work, I Googled Dillard's. And I was like, oh shit, this was a real store. I swear, on my work computer, I risked my job for Dillard's. So,
oh,
that happened
today. At the past Emmy Awards, I think Kate Clancy was told me some actress bought her dress at Dillard's. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing.
On fire.
Oh my god. I feel like there was something else I wanted to hit on. I don't know.
I did get long-winded. My apologies.
But we just hit over an hour, so I guess it is about time to wrap up. I don't know. Is there anything you want to plug, promote, or put out there for the audience?
I do want to say I have that show Friday the 27th, which is Black Friday. $25. Dinner is included.
Davey Lozano does great impressions.
Yes. We have Johnny Benson, who's funny and a staple in the CT scene. I have two gentlemen coming from New York. One is from the Bronx, one is from Brooklyn. I have comedian Divine. And I also have comedian Brandon Reeves, who's actually currently touring with Capone. So it's not a lightweight show. Like I said, I take this producing seriously. When you spend money with me, it's not, it's like for $25, I'm gonna feed you.
Now I remember what I wanted to say. I was because we were talking about the funny bone and all that. Okay. There's a great podcast. This is the nerd talking to the smooth guy here.
Oh, here we go.
I was listening to a podcast. Marin interviewed Cedric the Entertainer.
Okay.
And he was talking about how he worked at the Funny Bone for years, and he felt like he wasn't getting anywhere working at the Funny Bone. And it wasn't until he started producing his own shows at outside clubs that he felt like he was like a real comedian.
I'm glad you said that. So, I don't know, you guys probably not following my career. I'm just little old me, but the reason why me and Kareem linked up, and it was another young lady by the name of Karina Fort, who's currently, she resides.
She's great too. She's been on an episode of 1000 here.
Yeah, she loved Karina. She's relocated to Atlanta.
Really?
She's currently in Atlanta.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So we came together because the ideology is the same. Where not only are we passionate about comedy, but we're passionate about being creators, owning our stuff, not people telling you what to do and thinking outside the box. So with Kareem having all the stage stuff, and we had something called the Comedy Cartel. It was a group where we did a show on the Cape, and it was bananas. More off camera. It was bananas. We were like rock stars. We dressed up in suits. I'll show you pictures like the flyers. The flyers were next level.
Yeah.
And it was, like I said, it had to be bigger than life. Like, people look at this flyer like, there's something. Like, this is not a regular flyer. This looks like almost borderline an R&B group. We did a photo shoot. My wife is a photographer. My wife did the photos. We dressed up, color coordinated, made it real professional. But yeah, Karina's phenomenal. And that was the thing. Right before I broke into the Funny Bone, and I tell people this, even though I'm like there all the time, the comedy clubs don't define your career. Like, I worked so hard that I built my own brand that it's hard to book me around here because I know my worth. So like, I can't have a promoter give me, "Hey James, I got $200 for you to throw me on the fire." I can't do that when I can produce my own show, set my own price, pay the comedians, and leave with thousands as opposed to 200. I can't cheapen myself. So you're right. And that podcast kind of hits on that, but that's already my thought process too. That's why that's why I said I wasn't caping for the Funny Bone. And I mentioned that it's just great for networking. In 10 minutes you can't really get too much.
But I would totally agree with you there that the Funny Bone is great for networking, because even working there as a guy in the kitchen, I met so many great comedians: Christopher Titus, Leslie Jones.
Have you heard about Christopher Titus?
What about him?
I've learned from him. Like,
yeah, he's great. Dude, he gave me advice the last day I was working there, and it was just great. He like pulled me aside. He said, "Oh, you're a comic?" He's like, "How long you been doing it?" I was like, "I don't know." It was 7 years, however long I was doing it at the time. And he was like, "Oh," he's like, "in another 2 years you'll find your voice." And then he's like, "Another couple of years after that," he's like, "Then you're really gonna start like, like getting there." And I was like, I didn't realize what he was saying at the time, but you know something? It's like I really, it's like the work ethic that it's all about just work ethic. Yeah. And even like, it's like, I think learning that like working a day job is not like taking away from you as a comedian at all. You gotta learn that working your day job is all to supplement your income to put on the best show possible.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
If I didn't have a day job, could I produce like this? No, absolutely not.
There you go.
So, Christopher Titus, this guy is like a wordsmith, right? So everything that comes out of his mouth, he writes it down. To where he'll take a word, like in his joke, he might say spoon. He'll take that word and be like, "There's a word funnier than spoon. What if I use like spork or spatula?" Like, he's down to the teeth of that, almost like looking for almost he's a thesaurus, if you will. Like, you find a word is funny, then you go you'll go to a thesaurus, and it's like, okay, I want this same word, but this word sounds funnier. He's that into it, like, and I'm working on that. And,
totally. Yeah. It's always, it's just like I always would say to comedians, you use the word dick on stage. I say use the word wiener. It's so much funnier than dick
and cleaner.
Yeah,
exactly. It is. Or wee wee. Exactly. He whipped out his wee wee. Exactly. It's like dick, and then like people tighten up. When you say wee wee, it's like, oh, he whipped out his wee wee.
Yeah,
harmless, but still. Now I want to say still effect might be even funnier. But I learned that from Christopher Titus. And
I like how you say his name, Titus.
Titus.
Like,
well, you know what?
You're like, you don't enunciate until you get to
Titus.
Christopher Titus.
You know what's funny? Because in the hood, we call
Titus Andronicus. It's Shakespearean, so you got to be like Titus.
In the hood, we call Titus weed.
Oh, okay.
So like, you got some Titus on you? I mean weed.
Yeah.
So I've always.
It's also the most. Titus Andronicus is the most violent Shakespeare play that there is.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, you learn something new every day.
Yeah. Well, I'm an English teacher, so.
Okay, we got into Shakespeare right here.
Yeah. Do you think this is a good spot to wrap it up, or is there anything else you want to throw in there to plug?
That's it. I just want to say the show is February. Wow.
November 27th, headlined by Davey Lozano in New Britain.
Thank you.
And Johnny Benson will be there, too. JT Moore, everybody.
Thanks, Matt.